Yo, what's up with y'all boys and girls, man? Hey, it's Jay Briggs here with another week of picks from the DawgHouse NFL edition. Man, about mid-season, man. The NFL season rolling right along. We're in week 8. We blinked and look, here we are. Y'all know who's with me, man. Big Al McMorty and Money Man Mitch. Mitch, how you doing?
I'm doing well. It's one of those times of the year where it's like, we were in baseball and it was kind of like we couldn't wait for football, and then football happened, and it was then October comes where there's not baseball a lot during the week. There's just a couple of games. Then all of a sudden they come in over the top with the NBA and over the top again NHL, which I don't cover, but we have, and then in a couple weeks college basketball. So it's like these midweek NFL games they get slaughtered, and as we'll see on Monday night the NBA, just no respect for any league that puts the New York Giants on Monday Night Football. They're like, let's just put 8 games against them. They're going to put the Giants out there. Nothing's off limits for us. We're going to play a full schedule.
Yes. Y'all know I love the NBA. I'm glad it's back. Still covering the NFL though, still breaking it down. But yeah, everything's back and at it with college hoops right around the corner. We got McMorty. How you doing today, sir?
Pretty good. Yeah, like you, very happy about the NBA being here. Excited about my Spurs. We play your Mavericks tomorrow night. So, yeah, looking forward to it. I saw that you guys are now favored by, down to 7 in parts.
Yes, it's gonna be an interesting game. I can't wait. Season opener, home opener. New look Mavs, new look Spurs. Um, should be a fun game to start the season. Should be fun.
Yeah.
Fellas, well, y'all know what we do. Y'all know how it is. We got Thursday football this week. Decent game, not a great one. Decent game. We'll see. Um, so let's hop right in. We got the Minnesota Vikings off their loss last week. Tough loss, first one of the season. They're now laying 3 on the road on the 2-4 Los Angeles Rams. Mitch, Sam Darnold for Heisman, or
I think so still. I thought last week's game, even though they lost to the Lions in that one in the last second and did not cover the spread in the process, I think that, the Vikings certainly, it's one of those games. It's one of those NFL finishes. They're going to happen over the course of the season. That's why nobody goes undefeated. They shake hands at the end of the game, and because it's a divisional game, especially, it's like, oh, we'll see you later. And even though the game will be in Detroit, but it was a hell of a game. Lived up to everything that it said it was going to be. Meanwhile, the Rams, it's just I can't figure this out. It's like the books, once again on a Vikings game with an odd looking line here, just a field goal on the road, even though record wise these teams are not competitive. Cooper Kupp on the trading block here for the Los Angeles Rams as well. So there has to be either a belief that they have a replacement for him or a belief that he's never going to be right again, or both. But at the same time, I don't like the unrest there. And I think the Vikings just getting disrespected once again. I don't like the way that it all shapes up the line. And normally it's like, I smell something funny, I'm going to go the other way. I'm just going to stick with the Vikings. They've done pretty well for me so far this season.
fair enough, fair enough. Big Al McMorty, how you feeling?
Well, the Vikings, they started the season 5-0 straight up and ATS. So when they lost last week to Green Bay, it wasn't just their first straight up loss, it was also their first point spread defeat. I actually look at that as a huge sell signal. When NFL teams start the season with a 3-0 Suats or a 4-0 Suats or a 5-0 Suats record, and then they finally lose a game straight up in ATS, they generally follow that up with another point spread loss. They've gone 25-44 ATS, including 3-17 ATS if they're favored by single digits, which Minnesota is here. None of that bodes well for Minnesota in this game. Historically, the Vikings are a poor 6-22 ATS as a road favorite of -3 or more off a straight up loss. Um, yeah, it's the Rams +3 for me.
I think it's Rams +3 for me as well. Vikings, hell of a start to the season. But I don't think the Rams are as bad as people may think, and I don't think the Vikings are as good as people may think. I think it's just a mid-season game where everything comes back to normal. It's kind of what I'm expecting. So after the game, would I be surprised? I wouldn't be surprised if the Rams won this game outright at home and put them back at 3-4, Minnesota at 5-2. The teams just battling it out in their tough divisions. I think is kind of how this one is going to play out. So I'd rather attack the plus money with the Rams. Still have one of the better head coaches in the league, an offensive head coach. If anybody can figure out how to attack this Minnesota defense, it would be Sean McVay with a veteran head coach with a veteran quarterback in Matthew Stafford. I think it's going to be a good game. I think the Rams show up here. I'm going to take Los Angeles here on Thursday.
All right. Don't be surprised to see that Justin Jefferson dancing in the end zone all night. That's what he does. Very hard to cover.
True. There's been rumblings that the Vikings are trying to trade for Matthew Stafford, so don't be surprised this is like a tryout for Stafford to Minnesota. That's what I heard through the grapevine. So.
To back up Sam Darnold?
Replace Sam Darnold. Let's move it on to Sunday, where we have division battle. We got the Jets. In my opinion, the overrated, overvalued Jets. They're laying 7 on the New England Patriots. Big Al, is this the game they finally put it all together and flex their muscles and like, hey, we're the Jets, or are they overrated, overvalued?
I don't understand what you mean by the Jets.
Well, it's the worst team in the league year after year. One of the worst, traditionally top 10 drafting, Jets.
Hold on. Which game are we talking about? I thought we were talking about the Detroit-Tennessee game. Which game are we talking about?
Jets,
New England,
Patriots.
and the Jets.
Oh, that's why I was confused. I thought we were moving on to I was looking at the rotation order, so I was looking at the wrong game. Okay, so we're going to talk about the New England, New York Jets. Oh God. I don't want any part of either of these two teams. I mean, the Jets have been outscored by an average of 2.42 points per game, and as I've talked about incessantly over the years here, I don't like laying 7 or more points with teams that have negative scoring margins. On the flip side, of course, New England has lost its last 6 games. It's on a 5-game ATS losing streak. So instead of looking at the side, I'm going to focus on the over-under. And these two teams met earlier this year in the Meadowlands. The Jets won that game 24-3, so an extremely low-scoring game. But this game's going to be a bit different. On the New England side, Drake May is now the starting quarterback rather than Jacoby Brissett. The Jets, of course, have Devontae Adams. I like the over in this game. I think it's going to be a much higher scoring game than the first meeting, and we'll take the over 42.
I'm going to take the under. The Jets' offense is terrible. Aaron Rodgers and his offense, they don't do nothing. They're overrated. Devontae Adams isn't going to fix this offense. And the Patriots' defense I actually like. I think they match up really well on the outside with these receivers for the Jets. And I don't think the Jets are going to really just run the football effectively here. And on the other side, it's still the Patriots' offense. So 40.5, I wouldn't be surprised if this game was like 17-10, I think is how this will play out. Really low-scoring style game. And in that same game, I want the points really in my pocket with the Patriots. No way in hell I'm laying this many points with the Jets. I just can't. I can't. This is a 2-5 team laying 7 points on the road. It's what they are. And what we don't do, one thing I hate doing is laying points with terrible teams, with bad teams, especially ones that are still overrated and overvalued. People still think the Jets are going to do something. And what have you seen this season that suggests that they are? Because I haven't seen it. Because they beat this Patriots team earlier in the season, that doesn't move the needle for me. So I'm on New England here. For all we know, New England might go win this game outright. We know how the Big Dogs have been this season, so I think I have to sprinkle on New England money line in this spot as well. Mitch?
I'm with you on New England on the money line. At the beginning of the season, I thought the Patriots wouldn't win another game after they beat the Bengals, but I haven't watched the Jets play every single week in primetime before that. Now that I've seen the Jets play primetime almost every single week, well, we get magnified just to see just how bad this team really is and how bad Aaron Rodgers, the game has kind of gotten away from him. A lot of times we see guys that have played a year too long, and I thought Rodgers last year should have been his last year, but because he got injured, he didn't play, and I think now you can kind of see, oh man, the wheels are kind of off the cart for this guy. He's a shell of the quarterback that he once was. It's not like that he doesn't have the mind for the game. It's not that he doesn't, even the arm strength is there. He just doesn't have the athleticism that made Aaron Rodgers, the way that he kind of moved around in the pocket and just was able to create in no space at all, right? To do the weird little throws and the things like this is my weird Aaron Rodgers throw. But he's not doing those things, and his receivers aren't helping him out. And Devontae Adams is damaged goods, and I think when he's healthy, he's one of the best receivers in the game, if not the best. I mean, he's in that discussion, but he's not 100%. And the thing is, the Jets. This is a bad team. I don't even understand what's going on there. You had a bad coach. Now I believe you might have gone worse here. So I don't know what they do. I would be interesting to see how much money they're going to offer Kirby Smart after this season.
Fair enough. Let's keep it pushing. We go to Cincinnati, where the Bengals are laying 2.5 on the Philadelphia Eagles. Total around 47.5 here in this one. Y'all know where I'm at. I'm taking the Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Burrow, Joe Shiesty, Jamar Chase, and the Bengals. I think they're the better football team, and then being favored at home with with the losing record to me tells me something. I know sometimes it should be 3. I get that argument all the time, but still, in a vacuum, when I look at who these two teams are right now today, I think the Bengals are the better football team. Sorry, that's how I see it. I know the Bengals started the season off slow, but that's who they always are. And then they heat up, and you look up at the end of the season, they're right there battling out in the AFC. They have one of the best ATS records. Like, that's who they've been the last couple seasons. The offense, I think, has found their footing. And the defense is not nearly as bad as it was early in the season. They're starting to come together. And that's usually, people forget, the Bengals are usually a really good defensive team to go along with the offense that they have. So the Eagles, they beat up on the Giants last week. It was the Saquon Barkley revenge game. Shout out to him. But now going up against a team, back up against the wall, no room for error, at home, at the crib, big game. I'm taking big game Burrow. I'm taking Cincinnati. I'll lay it with them at home. Mitch?
I'm going to go with the Bengals as well. The one game that they lost in their last 4 games, the holder dropped the ball. As most people that watch the morning show know, I was a backup holder in high school, so I know how difficult that could be. Al, I don't know if you heard the story, but I was the backup holder, and then the holder actually missed the game, so I thought I was going to come in and get the backup hold. My coach elected to do the drop kick field goal as opposed to having the backup holder come in. So the thing is that I know it's not an easy job, but still, that's the only thing that's preventing the Bengals from winning 4 games in a row here. Even that first game of the season, they had, against the Patriots, they had plenty of chances and kind of gave that game away as well. So the Bengals, I think, are better than the record. Ironically, both these teams have basically beaten the same teams, winning 3 of their last 4. The only difference is different team from the AFC South, the Panthers and the Saints, who have both been playing miserable football recently. So, I don't know. The Bengals at home laying less than a field goal. Why not?
Fair enough. Big Al, how you feeling?
Yeah, and also, the other thing, the Bengals are the team that's come closest to beating Kansas City this year as well. I'm going to go a different direction than you guys. I'm not on Philadelphia. I'm going to look at the total instead. Primary reason is that both of these teams are coming into this game off back-to-back low-scoring games. The Bengals' last 2 games combined for 35 and 24 points. The Eagles' last 2 games totaled 31 and 36. All 4 games also went under the total. I look for a reversal in this game here. I look for a much higher scoring game, and also Philadelphia's 45 and 30 over the total, following back-to-back unders. So we'll take it over the 48.
I kind of like that over. I do like that over in that game. I like it. Let's keep it moving. We have the Jacksonville Jaguars back from London. Their second home. They were over there for a month. It felt like it was really like, what, 2 weeks? But they're back. They got the Green Bay Packers coming in. Packers laying 4 off the good win last week. Mitch, you laying 4 on the road with Jordan Love and company?
Absolutely not. I'm taking the Jaguars getting back home from London. They played miserably last week to start the game, dropping to a 10-0 deficit, and then really turned it around, started to find some answers. I like teams that find answers, and meanwhile the Packers, they kind of got off a little bit lucky there against the Texans, and they're playing a very similar team here in Jacksonville, so I expect another close game. I think this game is a coin flip. I think it's a field goal game either way. I think either team could win this game by field goal, so getting 4.5, tough not to just take the Jaguars.
Fair. Big Al?
I don't know. I mean, teams coming back to the United States following a game in Europe, they're currently riding an 11-25-1 ATS run. We already saw the New York Jets and Minnesota lose straight up and ATS in their home game following a London game. This weekend, we'll see the Jaguars, Patriots, and Bears try to, reverse that, but I just don't see it.
But these are bad teams. I mean, these are all teams with losing records.
And those teams aren't accustomed to doing it more so like the London Jags are.
Wait. Minnesota is
right, but they're the only one with a winning record of all those teams that you mentioned.
Anyway, it's I'm going to take a really good team in Green Bay against a mediocre team in Jacksonville, and I can't believe I'm getting attacked for taking Green Bay.
4.5
usually it's the reverse. Usually I'm on the dog shit teams like New England or Carolina, and you guys are looking at me like, what the fuck are you doing? Now I'm taking Green Bay and I'm getting attacked.
I'm on Jacksonville too. I've been on Jackson. This is gonna be my 3rd week on Jacksonville in a row. Ooh, shit. Damn, Jay, what you got going on in life? But that's how I'm feeling right now. I kind of felt the same way. So I was on the morning show watching that Jags game last week, y'all saw it happen in real time. They were down. I'm asking myself, Jay, why the hell did you bet the Jags back-to-back weeks? Then they came back, and I was like, okay, there we go. I just think this is a bad spot for the Packers on the road. And the Jags, they're still trying to salvage something here. They finally got the monkey off their back is how I feel about the Jags. Like, they had just been in such a rut. They finally got the monkey off their back. Coming back home, they haven't had a win at home in Jacksonville in quite some time. And they might be poised to pull one off here. The Packers' defense is not great. And Jordan Love at times turns into Brett Favre. And I wouldn't be surprised if, a turnover here, a turnover there, Jags take a lead. This is the NFL, man. Any given Sunday, I think I want to attack the Jags money line in this spot.
27th most intercepted quarterback in the NFL at 32.
Might get picked off this week. It's coming.
Jags 31st in interceptions. They've got one all season.
Give me a Jordan Love interception this week. Book it. He's due.
I think the Packers are overrated. I do. I just think.
No, I mean they've lost 2 games. They lost to a really good team, in Minnesota, fell behind, stormed back, lost by 2. And then the game against Philadelphia, in where was that, in Mexico, or I forget where it was played, Sao Paulo, Brazil. That could have gone either way. I mean, that's opening weekend, so I think the Packers are kind of under
last
the
week.
radar.
But last week they got a win in a game that could have gone either way too.
Yes,
against Texas.
Yes. Oh, I understand that. I'm just saying. I think a lot of teams have gotten the attention early in the year. Kansas City, Minnesota, and Green Bay's kind of been this under the radar team.
I just don't see them as a contender. I just don't see them there. I just don't see them as a contender.
They also, Jordan Love missed a couple games. I mean, I just, they beat the Colts without Jordan Love, and
but he's overrated too. He's way overrated.
Okay. Highest paid quarterback in the league.
I know.
Or second now, I think, behind Dak. I'm in that same bucket with you, Mitch, but in that same breath, they're a really well-coached team. They won a playoff game last year. Like, I I'm on the fence. I get the hype, and at the same time they're overrated. Like,
But my point is there really hasn't been hype. I mean, Green Bay is really
They're the
underrated.
Packers. They're the Packers.
I mean, it's like who thinks about the Cowboys? You could say, oh, they're the Cowboys. No one thinks about the Cowboys in the last 5 years. I mean, no one's talking about Dallas. No one's.
You go to the Vegas Sportsbook. I mean, you see all the Packer fans.
Yeah, you see the fans, but no one in the national media is talking about the Green Bay Packers yet.
Fair. Let's keep it moving, fellas. Let's keep it moving. Next game up, we go to Detroit, where the Lions pulled off a really good win last week. I'm hearing a lot of the Lions are the best team in the NFC talk starting now, is what I'm starting to hear about these Detroit Lions. They're laying a big boy number, laying 11. Big Al, you're up first here.
Oh, you know where I'm going. I mean, this is just classic NFL handicapping. They had their biggest win of the season. They defeated an undefeated division rival. So obviously, off that huge win, I'm going to fade the Lions. Home teams have now gone 30-55 ATS going back to 1980, following a win over an 800 or better division foe at Game 6 forward. So when you beat that good of a division rival, you generally have a letdown the next game. This is just Tennessee or nothing.
I understand it, Big Al, but I got to take the Lions. I have to. Unless I have just a clear reason to fade Detroit, I'm not doing it. These boys.
I just gave you a clear reason. They just beat an undefeated division rival.
That's not clear enough because in a vacuum, this is still the Titans with Mason Rudolph under center versus the Lions who be beating the brakes off of folk. A team who doesn't take the pedal off the metal. A team who has covered more point spreads in the last 3 seasons than any other team. They're the most profitable team in the league. So it's just like, man, I got to roll with the Lions. The Titans done burnt me so many times this season that it's just like they're on the do not bet list. We just haven't made the new one yet. So it's Detroit or pass for me here. I definitely understand everything you said. Titans are probably the play, but I can't get there. For me, it's Detroit laying the 11. Mitch?
I'm going with the pure contrarian play. I mean, that's the only reason to go for the Titans in this one. It just seems almost too easy here for the Lions. I mean, I think you could put 18.5 here on the Lions and still get a lot of action on them from the public bettors. That's how public this team is. I think you could.
If the line was 14, I would still lay it. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah. If it was 18.5, I think they would get a lot.
Line probably should be 14.
Isn't this the biggest number of the NFL season to date? Because it's 11.5 in some spots, 11 in others. But I think the biggest number heretofore was the 49ers minus 11. I don't think we've seen a number 12 or higher yet.
It's got to be up there, but to me, it's like I don't like anything the Titans are doing. I don't like the way Pollard played last week. But I got to say, I think in this game, the Lions are due for a stinker, man. And if there's a look ahead or look past or any of that type of things, this is the game. I'm going to take the Titans. I'm taking the Titans.
Yeah, man. Maybe I might wake up Sunday and rethink it, but I can't bet the Titans, y'all. I can't do it.
I'm gonna guess 80% of all circa million entries are gonna be on the Lions in this one.
It wouldn't surprise me. Let's keep it rolling, fellas. Next game up, we're heading to Tampa. Banged up Tampa, man. Damn. Tampa had a bright future rolling into that game and now coming out of it, man. Damn. They're now 2.5-point home dogs to the Falcons, who took a bad loss last week. I'm up first here in this one. Everybody says I hate everything Atlanta, and that's not true. It's not true. But I'm going to fade the Atlanta Falcons again here in this spot. I'm going to take the banged up, battered Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home at the crib. It's just I think this game plays out similar to how that last game played out between these two. It's going to be a tightly contested divisional game. Tampa's going to have a very legitimate chance to win it. This time they're at home, though, so getting plus money, getting the points in my back pocket, wouldn't be surprised if we're on or off number if Atlanta won the game by like 2 or something like that. So it's just too many scenarios, too much value for me to pass up here on Tampa. Still a really high-scoring team. I know they're missing their best receiver, Mike Evans. They're also missing their second receiver, Chris Godwin. It's not pretty. It's not pretty this week for Tampa, but I still got to roll with them here. It's ugly, but I believe it's the right play. Mitch?
I'm going to take Tampa as well. I don't like the Falcons on the road, especially playing outside on the grass. It's not what they're built to do, and the Bucks getting 2.5 at home. I think it's a game they could win outright. I think that Baker Mayfield's numbers without Mike Evans in the game are horrible. But I think he kind of broke through there in the second half, and that game against the Ravens. I mean, really, they were a play away from the back door on that Monday night game, and in a game that they were outplayed. I watched Undercover with Baker Mayfield, the Eli Manning video. Hopefully, you guys all get a chance to see that. You can Google it on YouTube. It's called Undercover, and it's with Eli Manning and Baker Mayfield. It is awesome, and I'll tell you what, I kind of like Baker a lot more after watching that. I'm gonna take the Bucs.
Well, now Mayfield is going to have to rely on rookie Jalen McMillan, the ex-New York Giants Sterling Shepard, and a second-year pro Trey Palmer. Although we've seen the Buccaneers now play 4 straight, highly, huge scoring games, 4 straight over the total. One of which was 3 games ago against this Falcons team where they went into overtime and lost 36-30. But now I just think the offense is going to take a major step backward with, this troika of receivers that he has to rely on. And I'm going to take this under the total of 46.
Fair enough. Let's keep it pushing. Next game up, we're in Miami, where the Dolphins get their starting quarterback back in Tua Tagovailoa. And they're laying 3.5 on the Arizona Cardinals. The inconsistent, never know what the hell you're going to get, Arizona Cardinals. It's a tough game. Mitch, I'm interested to hear hear your thoughts. You know me. I've been on the Cardinals damn near every week, or tried to put them in our circle every week. Are you going to let me put them in there this week? Is really the $1 million question.
Well, you can't fire the team, so you got to fire the coach. I don't care about the new contract or any of that stuff. I think, McDaniel's already shown what he's made of in Miami. They were favored last week against the Colts on the road. I mean, it's ridiculous. This team stinks. They're absolutely terrible and clueless. And, they've had injuries at quarterback, but you still got, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, 0 targets last week against the Colts combined. A-Chain was in there. He played, but, was used very ineffectively. This is a team that's quitting, from underneath their coach. And this is a team that was not in a rebuild mode. This is not a cheap, roster. This is, adding the big veterans like Odell Beckham Jr. to put you over the top team. It's do or die here for the Dolphins. I think they die taking the Cardinals.
Big Al?
Well, without Tagovailoa under center, their offense has definitely sputtered. In their last 4 games, they've averaged just 10 points. 3 of those 4 games went under the total. For the season, their offensive average is 11.66 points per game. And when you take a look at how NFL teams with offensive averages of 11.66 or below have done, if they've gone under the total their previous 2 games, they then proceed to play over the total, 67%. They've gone 46 and 23 over the total. With their star QB returning this week, that's enough for me to pull the trigger on the over.
Fair enough. Everybody knows I'm conflicted on my feelings about Tua Tagovailoa. The reason I'm conflicted is I don't think Tua's all that good, but the Dolphins just every time he's out, just dolphin dive. Like, they're terrible when he's not in the lineup. So Is he better than I give him credit for? Will he return back to the lineup and the Dolphins ascend back to, what people think they are, and that's one of the best teams in the AFC? Or are they just overrated and overvalued per usual? I'm leaning more towards the latter. I think they're overrated, overvalued, at least right now. I think the Cardinals have a legitimate chance to win this game outright. Mitch said something key the other day when we were looking at the Cardinals' schedule. Man, they've had one of the toughest schedules, if not the toughest schedule, to start the season. Buffalo, the Rams was their easy game. Then they played the Lions, the Commanders, the Niners, the Packers, then the Chargers. Like, they've had a pretty tough schedule to start the season. And they played pretty decently in almost all of them except for that Commanders game. That Commanders game kind of got away from them. They beat themselves up in that game, really, though. A lot of turnovers in that game. I like what I'm starting to see from Arizona in certain spots. Like I said at the top of this, I want to bet Arizona every week. They're wildly inconsistent, and they're a tough team to bet every week because some weeks they look really good, and then some weeks they're going to just lay an egg. Hopefully this week is not a week they lay an egg. I think they actually match up really well with Miami. And with the line right now being 3.5, I'm starting to see that 3.5 come up. I want to grab the points here especially with that hook with Arizona. Let's keep it moving, though, fellas. Let's keep it moving. Next game up, we head to Cleveland, where the Browns are right now, I'm seeing 9-point dogs to the Baltimore Ravens. Total hanging around 44.5. Big Al, you're up here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to take the underdog. Browns. The underdog in AFC North division games is 47, 32, and 1 ATS. But all the profit in that 47 and 32, it's centered in teams that did not cover the spread in the previous game. Those teams in the AFC North division games have gone 25, 8, and 1 ATS. Cleveland, of course, didn't cover last week, so we'll take the Browns plus the points.
Classic game for me to take the Browns plus the points as well. I know it's my dirty dog of the week. Is what it is. Nobody's going to want Cleveland this week. They're down their quarterback. I haven't gotten word if it's Jameis or DTR. DTR came in at the end of that game instead of Jameis. They had Jameis as the emergency quarterback, so kind of be on the lookout for that. I don't think it matters either way. It's just a fade of the spot. Y'all know I love spots and situations in every sport. It's just a fade of the spot and situation for the Ravens. When they play NFC teams, they always dominate them. Lamar Jackson is now 23-1 against NFC teams as a starting quarterback. It just is what it is. Who he struggles against are the teams that are familiar with his game, and there's nobody familiar more with his game than his division rival, the Cleveland Browns, who still have a decent defense, still have a lot of good players over there. Ravens win it. It's going to be an ugly style game, though. Lower scoring game, probably. I like the under, and I like the Browns plus the points. Mitch?
Look for the Browns to lean on Nick Chubb in this game. He played
Nick Chubb,
well.
anytime touchdown.
he did get the touchdown last week. He played pretty well in that game. He's, Nick Chubb is a tough guy, man. He's those Georgia running backs traditionally have been so good over the years. I just think that, the Ravens on the short week, I mean, they're playing well, but, it's the second time they've left the back door open like that. This time, they got lucky that it closed, but it's a lot of points to be laying on the road, playing on a short week on like that. So I'm going to take the back-to-back on the road. I'm going to take Cleveland in this one.
Fair enough. Let's keep it pushing. Last 12 o'clock game on the slate. Division battle. We got the Houston Texans laying 5 on the Indianapolis Colts. I think I'm up here in this one. Total around 45.5. Don't the Colts always play the Texans tough? I swear there's something to that. I need to go. I haven't deep dove this game all the way through like I probably should have. As of right now, I'll have a better analysis for this game come Sunday. As I sit here right now, though, I want the points in my pocket with the Colts. I know I want. I know that's where I want to be. Texans are the better football team by a pretty good margin, but division games in this division, they always seem to come right down to it, no matter the record, no matter nothing. That's just how these games play out. So Give me the Indianapolis Colts. It's ugly, but I think they keep it close. I think they might even have a chance to win this game outright. I'm looking at a lot of plus money this week in the NFL. I think some dogs might bark outright. Mitch.
I think this is going to be an ugly game. I'm with you. I'm going to take the points with the Colts. I think that what we've seen from these two teams are a lot of close games, and the Colts coming out on the better end of it most of the time. I'm not sure the Colts get the outright win, but I think they just play it close enough. The Texans were in a close one last week against the Packers. They've been in a lot of close games too. The Dolphins game against the Colts, it was 6 points when all was said and done, but that was the Dolphins backing into giving the Colts an additional 3. I think this game's closer than the number, and I'm going to take the Colts.
Fair. Big Al?
Yeah, I'm just looking at, you had posed that question. Yeah, I mean, the Colts have done well against Houston. I'm just looking at the record. Long term 33-12, straight up 25-18 ATS. But more recently ATS, I'm just trying to do some quick math. 5 to 2, 7, 3, 10, 12, 4. Looks like 16-7 last 23.
Yeah, so I knew it was something similar to like the Colts just kind of dominate this series. So.
Yeah. Anyway, these two teams met in week 1. Very, very, very high scoring game won by Houston 29-27. But since that game, the Texans have gone 5-1 under the total. The Colts have gone 4-2 under. These two teams have a history of playing relatively low-scoring games. The under's 20-9. The last 29 meetings, including 15-0 to the under when you've had a non-competitively priced game with a point spread above 5. So, in the NFL, divisional matchups with competitively priced point spreads, those games tend to go under. But this is unusual that a non-competitive game would have this kind of under result. But anyway, it does 15-0. I'm going to look at the under here. I'm going to take it under the 46.
Fair enough. Let's keep it pushing, fellas. Let's keep it pushing. Next game up. Got the beat up, battered, struggling New Orleans Saints out on the road facing I almost said San Diego, the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers laying 7 here in this matchup. Mitch, you laying 7 with Harbaugh and company? Short week?
Generally not. The Saints, though, have been so bad. I mean, they have been absolutely terrible. But the Chargers play this just mucking around kind of game, and we saw them really struggle to get any points on the board last week in that game against the Cardinals. They scored 15 points, but, man, it was a tough watch all the way around in that thing. It was all field goals by the Chargers. They never got a touchdown in that one, 5 field goals. So I know those fantasy players, they love that, when they have that kicker or whatever. But at the same time, I don't play fantasy, so I don't really care all that much. What we said going into that one was, on our morning show and on this show was, the Cardinals had played that brutal schedule, and the Chargers really have played a very, very soft schedule. And the Saints, while they haven't played well, they've played a way tougher schedule than the Chargers. The Chargers have really drawn a cream puff of a schedule. Outside of the Chiefs and the Steelers, they don't have any teams with winning records on there. I think this is a lot of points to be laying on a team that can't score a touchdown. I'm going to take the points here with the Saints. I don't love this one, but I just don't think that you can lay a touchdown with a team that can't score a touchdown.
Fair.
Call me crazy.
Big Al?
I don't think Mitch is crazy at all. I also think New Orleans has a big scheduling advantage in this game. I mean, they played on Thursday. They were blown out by the Broncos, 33-10. And when you get NFL teams off blowout Thursday night football losses, and then they get installed as an underdog versus an unrested foe the next week, those are generally good bets. And one of the reasons it's a good bet is because when a team loses like that on national TV, they want to redeem themselves the next week. And then when you get to play a team that's not as well rested, usually you're playing a team on Sunday. Here you're playing a team off a Monday game. So that just adds up to a really good situation for the Saints coming off that 23-point debacle. I'm going to take the Saints plus the points.
let me say this, man, and I want to say this in the most clear way possible. The Saints are ass. The Saints are terrible. The Saints. I wouldn't be surprised if the Saints ended up with the number one overall pick in the NFL draft. That's how bad they are right now. And it's sad that my Cowboys lost in the fashion that they did to this team. This team has now lost, what, 5 straight games?
The Cowboys are ass too.
I know, Big Al. I know. We'll talk about them boys here in a second. The thing is, though, is that doesn't mean that the Chargers are a good football team either. And with that being said, one thing I hate doing is laying big extended numbers with bad to mediocre teams, and that's what the Chargers are at best. They're a middle of the road team at best. Not laying 7 with the Chargers short week. Can't do it, won't do it. So this was in contention for the dirty dog. I just like Cleveland a little better, but you could really probably parlay them up and be in a good little spot with 2 dirty dogs this week. Let's keep it moving. Next game up, we got the Seattle Seahawks off the nice win last week at home with the Buffalo Bills coming into town. Buffalo, 3-point road favorites in this one. Mitch?
Yeah, this one is a little bit tougher. The Bills, they've been kind of up and down this season. Josh Allen has not been the quarterback that, he's been more the quarterback that Jay said he would for the most part. But, the Bills, they continue to get it going. I really like what Amari Cooper looked in that game. I think he adds another dimension to this Bills offense, and he is that missing piece that the Bills were missing. I mean, they got rid of Stefon Diggs. They had nobody to throw deep to, and now they have this guy. And if he can hold on to the football, man, he's going to be pretty good for this team because this guy has no problem stepping back and throwing the ball down the field. The Seahawks, realizing that they have some issues on defense, adding a big-time linebacker today, as we get close to the trade deadline here, I don't know. This is a good game. I like the Bills, so I'll take them in that spot.
Big Al?
Yeah, I mean, I like Seattle here just because it's kind of like a little bit of a momentum play coming off that road win last week and now being installed as a home dog. They blew out Atlanta by 20 points, 34-14. And when you get a home dog off a road win, playing an opponent off a home win, that's always been a good bet in the NFL, 192 and 147 ATS. The Seahawks have always been a solid home underdog, especially getting 3 or more points. They're 20-7 ATS, including 7-0 off a straight-up win. So I'll take the 3 with Seattle.
I'm taking the 3 with Seattle here as well. Seattle's just one of them teams where it's like when they're a dog, I like them. When they're a favorite, I hate them. That's kind of who the Seahawks are for me. And a home dog, 12th man, this is their style game where they show up, show out, come in and play good football. The Bills, they've beat the teams they're supposed to beat, and they've lost to the teams they're supposed to lose to. This is a middle of the road game. I'm interested to see how this one plays out. I think it's going to come right down to the wire. And if you're going to give me 3 points with the team that has an extra player on the field, in the Seattle Seahawks, that's the team I want the points with. So give me the points at least here with Seattle. Let's keep it pushing. Big Al McMurdy, you're up here. You got the Commanders. Are Commanders they're +3 against the Bears at home? Is that correct?
Injury.
What's the injury?
I thought the Commanders
Daniels
was
he's questionable.
out.
Okay, he is questionable.
Yeah,
Commanders
but I
head
mean,
coach Quinn said Wednesday that Daniels' ribs will not participate in practice.
I mean, I think the line's telling you he's not going to play, but that's my assumption anyway.
Marcus Mariota show?
Yeah. Do you guys remember that game last year? I think it was Thursday night when Chicago was playing horribly, And then they went into Washington. They were a 6-point dog, and they just annihilated the Commanders 40-20. Do you remember that game? Thursday Night Football.
Vaguely.
Well, I think Washington's going to remember that game. That was like a hugely embarrassing loss for the Commanders last season, and I just like Washington to avenge that defeat. Chicago also doesn't play well against revenge-minded non-division foes. They've gone 15-35 ATS, including 5-17 ATS if Chicago won that previous meeting by more than 10. So, I think that game's going to be fresh in Washington's mind this week, and I'm just going to take Washington.
I'm going to take Washington here as well. Mariota's stat line last week was solid. Mariota's performance last week was so solid. You got to kind of look a little bit at Jaden Daniels like, is it you or the system? I'm just saying, you gotta kind of turn your eye. It was the Panthers. But 18 for 23, 200 yards, 78% completion percentage, 2 touchdowns, an average of 9 yards a throw. That's a good game right there, Marcus Mariota. And then I think Marcus Mariota can come here and run pretty much the exact same system Jaden Daniels was running. Marcus Mariota pretty much invented the system that Jaden Daniels incorporated and ran. I think people forget Mariota in them Oregon days, man. Mariota was him. Shout out Marcus Mariota. I'm taking Marcus Mariota this week. It's the Mariota show. The Bears, I pretty much have faded the Bears every week, and I ain't stopping now. They're going to kill me in the comments per usual. I don't care. I'm fading Caleb Williams and them. They haven't really played a tough schedule. They've had a light schedule as well. I think the Commanders is definitely one of the tougher teams they played this week. And because their quarterback is out, we're getting a ton of value here. So give me the points and give me money line here with Washington. Mitch?
Yeah, I like Washington as well. I don't care if Mariota's playing. I think Mariota, when backup quarterback comes in and plays well, a lot of that has to do is that the game plan that they've spent all week on, had nothing to do with Marcus Mariota. So there's going to be holes in things that are available to him that might not be available to the starting quarterback. But it's also the Panthers. And I think, at the same time, you look at this and, the Chicago defense has kind of carried the day, but what the Commanders do really well is run the football, and I expect to see them run the football here on the Bears. I think you run the football, you play defense. I think that the Commanders' pass defense is a little bit underrated here as well. This team is ball hawking fumble hogs, man. Like how the Bears are known for being the fumble guys. The Commanders are actually the best at it. Just all the kind of things that I like. They're also 12th best in the NFL at sacks against a rookie, and they're playing against a rookie quarterback on the road. I'm going to go with the Commanders.
Fair enough. Let's keep it pushing, fellas. Next game up. We got the Carolina Panthers. They're out on the road facing the Denver Broncos. Denver is laying 10 points in this football game, man. Bryce Young will be back under center, though. It's the Bryce Young show, man. No more Andy Dalton. I think I'm up here.
Take a look at my notes.
Taking the Panthers. Don't kill me, bitch. I know. Don't kill me. I can't lay 10. I can't lay 10 with the Broncos. I can't. They're not that good. Laying 10, like. Nah. They not that good. They're not. The Lions are laying 11, and they're that good. Broncos laying 10, they're not that good. It's kind of how I see it. Like, give me the Panthers plus the points. It's just a play on the number. Broncos are the better football team. The Panthers are the worst team in the league. They are terrible. I don't think switching from Andy Dalton to Bryce Young is going to change anything. But still, that doesn't mean lay 10 with Denver because one team's that bad. Wouldn't be surprised this is a 7-point win when it's all said and done, like a 17-10 Broncos home win. That's kind of what this one shapes up to be. Give me Carolina plus the points. Mitch?
Panthers are ass. I'm taking Denver. I don't care. I would lay. This is the one I'd lay 18.5 or whatever. I don't even care. We saw Denver, beat up against a Saints team that had a lot of similar issues here, except maybe the Saints' backup quarterback is better than Bryce Young. The thing is, the Panthers are just terrible. I mean, they are just terrible from top to bottom here. This is, it's weird. This year's NFL, there's a lot of middle to top teams, and then there's just a handful of really, really bad ones. And the Panthers, the Patriots, the Jets, they're all in that discussion with the Dolphins. But I can't go near the Panthers. They're number one on the do not bet list for a reason, and they have not done anything to inspire me to either take them off the list, which isn't going to happen, or even move them down. It's like the Commanders. I think we could probably take off the list, but the Panthers. I mean, they still got to be number one on the list. And I think, we look at the do not best list. It's the Panthers, the Commanders, the Atlanta Hawks. It remains to be seen. Shedeur Sanders for Heisman. I think we're pretty safe on that one. Toronto Raptors. We'll find out tonight. USC football. Definitely on the do not bet list. Lincoln Riley 4-9 in his last 13 straight up. And the Kings on the road as road favorites. I wouldn't go near that, man.
Solid list, man. It was created for a reason.
The Kings as a road favorite is, just give me your money now. It's like I'll go in the YouTube comments on that one. It's like that's gonna bust up your parlay in a hurry.
Fair enough. Big Al, how you feeling?
Oh, you know what? I was just looking at something right now. You've got two teams that are obviously playing as badly as you can play in the Saints and the Panthers. Both teams 0-3. Suats, their last three. The Carolina Panthers have failed to cover the spread in those three games by 23, 12, and 22. So an aggregate of 47 points. And then New Orleans, very similar. Their aggregate is 48. Hold on one second. So what I actually then looked at was how these teams that are hold on a second. I looked at how these teams that are in this big of a tailspin have done, like when they've gone 0-3 Suats and failed to cover the spread by 47 or more in the aggregate. And believe it or not, they're basically 50-50. They're 129 and 126 ATS. So it's just basically ammunition for not being scared to play on a team like New Orleans or Carolina that is playing that bad. Those teams don't play that poorly forever, and eventually, they do snap back. They tend to do much better on the road than at home. On the road, they're 64 and 48 ATS. So anyway, I was just looking at that kind of information. I guess I like Carolina here. It's just.
I don't feel sorry for either of you.
Yeah, it's another thing. It's mainly the fact that they're a road underdog, and also when you take a look at
there'll be no sympathy here, man. None.
Well, the line's up to 10 in spots right now, but underdogs of more than 4 points that have failed to cover the spread by 12 or more points in each of their last three games. They've gone 16 and 4 ATS their last 20, including 9 and 1 ATS on the road. So I like the fact that they're on the road rather than at home, probably the most. So I'll take the Panthers.
Let's do it. Another ugly, dirty, dirty dog. This is another dirty, dirty dog coming up. I ain't touching this one. I was called today a closeted Chiefs fan. We got them Chiefs laying 10 on the Raiders. It was this guy right here that called me that.
Chiefs, Dodgers, Celtics.
Whatever.
It's a good time to be a fan.
Mitch, you laying the 10 with KC on the road?
Nope. Taking the Raiders. This is a rivalry game, and the Raiders, if they can't get up for this one, then they can't get up for anything. They got a coach here that understands this type of thing, and the Raiders are going to get up for this game. I think what we always see in these Chiefs games against the Raiders, is, especially the games in Vegas, they're way closer than people expect them to be. 10 is like getting 20 in this thing. I'm going to take the Raiders.
Big Al?
Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs are interesting, right? Because they play close games, and yet this year they're covering the spread in virtually all of them. They didn't cover against the Bengals, but I don't have a do not bet list, but one thing that's about as close to being a do not bet list would be do not bet on a double digit road favorite. I can't remember the last time I took a double digit road favorite. Usually with me, it's either going to be the double digit home dog or nothing. Double digit home dogs in the NFL going back 45 seasons are 131 and 104 ATS. And obviously, when you're a double digit home dog, you've got a really bad team against a really good team. And yet those really bad teams, they just get the cash, year in and year out. You're not going to go broke betting on a double digit home dog in the NFL. The other interesting thing is that the double digit home dogs are 30-17 ATS versus undefeated opponents. They're 28-19 ATS versus defending Super Bowl champions. So I can't find a reason not to take the Raiders here. Defending Super Bowl champs have also been terrible as road favorites of 7 or more. They've gone 11-22 ATS. So I'll take the Raiders plus the 10.
Fair enough. Y'all know what? I want to take the Chiefs here, but this game kind of reminds me of a game earlier this year where I got caught on the Chiefs. I got caught in that Chargers game. The Chiefs came off a nice win over the Falcons. We're laying a pretty big number on the road and didn't cover. Big Al McMorty kind of was talking to me about
well,
that.
The Chiefs, that was a weird game because that line opened 7.5. It ended closing at 6.5, and they win by 7 against the Chargers. So depending on what number and when you bet, changed, whether so. I mean, technically, they didn't lose ATS in that game because the closing line was 6.5.
Fair. It's Chiefs or nothing for me here, though, bro. Y'all already know where I'm at. I've said multiple times this season, I got the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl, first three-peat in NFL history. The boys are 6-0. Like, Mahomes has more interceptions than touchdowns, and they're 6-0. They're balling ATS. Man, wait till he start clicking. Like, just wait till he figure it out. Then what? Like, I get it. I do be sounding like a Chiefs fanboy at times, man. But man, them boys be balling. I just love greatness. I love it. And I love making money too. I'm on the Chiefs. I wouldn't be surprised if the Raiders kept it close. I really wouldn't, but still not enough for me here to take Gardner Minshew and whoever else is going to be on the field for the Raiders. Give me Kansas City. All right, fellas. Game of the week. In my opinion, you know how we do it, man. Sunday Night Football. Got my favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys, off the bye on the road. Playing the team we can't never beat, man. Playing the team that just always seem to beat the brakes off of us, man. Oh, my God. We got them Niners laying 4. Both teams need it. Both teams really need it. Both teams struggling. Mitch, who pulls it off?
Well, we saw the Niners have the big injuries last week, and we saw once they had the big injuries, Brock Purdy just throwing the ball to the wrong team, especially in the end zone from the 4-yard line, where it's like, if you at least get the field goal there, then you still have it, as you're still within striking distance. But the walking with nothing and then giving the ball to Patrick Mahomes, who goes down and scores on the other side, game over. A big difference in that game. And then, the worst onside kick in the history of onside kicks. It was just pathetic from start to finish. I like the Cowboys in this one, especially if Deebo Samuel's not going. Ayuk, they've, of course, without McCaffrey, just not really the same team that they were in the past. So I'm going to go with the Cowboys coming off the bye week. They've had some time to think about things, think about that Lions game. It's these guys, no matter how good or bad the team is, and no matter how good or bad they've played in their last game, professional athletes are just very competitive people, and they're not just going to say, "Oh, we got our ass kicked 47-9 last time, so no reason to even try this game." I expect the Cowboys to really come out dialed in and focused. I think they have a shot to win this one.
Big Al?
Yeah, I mean, Mitch pretty much took the words out of my mouth. I agree with everything that Mitch said. I'll just throw in a stat. NFL dogs of +4 or more points, they've gone 32-12 ATS off losses by more than 37. So for me, the key factor in this game is the magnitude of each team's prior loss. San Francisco lost by 10, and Dallas lost by 38. The competitive pride of the Cowboys with the week off, it's just going to be too much for San Francisco. I'm going to take the points.
Mitch and Big Al on my Cowboys. Ooh, shit.
And you're taking the 49ers.
Niners. Plus minus the points.
Niners. Let's move on to Giants Steelers.
Come
on, shock the world, Jay. Just say it. Can you say the words Niners?
Juwan Johnson, anytime touchdown.
The thing, I wouldn't be surprised if they beat us. I wouldn't be, because they always beat us. They always do. Every time I hype myself up to believe we're going to beat the Niners, it never happens. Like, they own us, man. I'll just call a spade. But our saving grace is at home. We've now been blown out 4 straight home games going back to last season. Playoffs against Green Bay, at home against the Ravens, at home against the Lions, at home against the Saints. We've been blown out in 4 straight. On the bright side, we've won 3 straight on the road. It's kind of crazy because that's the complete opposite team we've been in years past. But maybe the road is our saving grace this season. Very rarely do we just continue to put up stinkers. Like, we're usually a really good bounce-back team. We almost always have been, at least under Mike McCarthy. I had a peaceful week last week, not getting blown out, didn't have to worry about my Cowboys. It was actually a good Sunday. It was a really good Sunday, not having to worry about them. Now, they could potentially ruin my whole week, but y'all know where I'm at. I'm taking the points and sprinkling on the money line. Give me Dallas. All right, Monday night. We got the Steelers laying 6.5 on the New York Football Giants. Big Al McMorty, earlier in the season, you weren't the biggest fan of these Pittsburgh Steelers. Are you starting to come around?
I was wrong.
Are you coming around on them, or are you still?
I was 100% wrong. I am going to, genuflect to Mike Tomlin.
Fair enough. Do you think they do enough to cover here at home?
No, fuck no. But I mean, I was wrong about the Steelers. I mean, couldn't have been more wrong. It's not that they're not going to win this game, but they're favored by 6.5 points. And you've got 2 teams with disparate results last week. The Giants mustered just 3 points. They lost by 25 to Philadelphia. The Steelers went for 37 in a 22-point blowout of the New York Jets on national TV. So the knee-jerk reaction for a lot of bettors is going to be to lay the 6.5 with the Pittsburgh Steelers in this Monday Night Football game. But when you can get an underdog off a loss by more than 20 versus an opponent off a win by more than 20, those underdogs have gone 40-24 ATS. So this is just, again, team off the blowout loss, team off the blowout win. I'll grab the points.
Giants on prime time, especially Monday night, automatic fade. They're ass. I know we used to joke about primetime Kirk Cousins.
I got news for you. They're ass on Sundays as well.
Yeah, they are. Hey, it needs to be primetime Daniel Jones because, oh, my God, he is terrible. Steelers, man, last season, if you watched this show last season, shout out the OGs, shout out all the OGs, then I beat up on Russell Wilson a ton last season. All I needed to see was one game. I'm back on the Russell Wilson train, man. Hashtag let Russ cook. Hashtag let's do it, man. Hashtag let's ride. I forgot what the new one is. He got a new saying. I forgot what it is.
He said he was going to keep it until the end of the year.
The thing, he already said it one time. That's
I
why
know,
she.
but he wouldn't say it again after the
Yeah,
Sunday night game. She went up to him and asked, and he's like,
yeah,
I'm just going to keep
yeah. I
watching it.
forgot what the
Yeah.
new one is. I forgot
I
what
think
the.
it was like win number 7 or something like that.
Yeah, something. But I'm gonna take the Steelers here, man. Y'all know me. I love me some Coach Mike Tomlin. I have over the past couple seasons, man. He's one of my favorite coaches in the league. He's just a winner, no matter the team, no matter the product. And they elevated at quarterback. They got this season, and that really has been the thing that's held them back since losing Ben Roethlisberger. The defense has always been good. It's been the quarterback play that's really held them back, I think. And Russell Wilson, he's a veteran. I think they do enough here to beat up on a bad Giants football team who was lucky to even get the cover of the last primetime game. Brandon Aubrey. That kick still need to be investigated. Still need to be investigated. But I'm gonna fade the Giants here on primetime. Mitch.
I'm so sick of the Steelers, and the Giants for that matter. These teams get just such favored schedules. When it comes to the prime time and big, TV games, it's like even you look even down to the end of the schedule. Steelers play on Christmas. They play against the college football playoff on opening playoff Saturday. They play another night home game 2 weeks in a row, prime time home games. It's like enough's enough. I think the Giants just need to go away also. I mean, this is enough. We saw the Jets like a ton in prime time, and the Giants also. It's enough. These aren't good teams, man. It's not fair to the rest of us. Just because it's the number one TV market, it's not fair to the rest of us. I think we need the flex schedule to start now, and flex this one the hell out of there, man. Put that Niners Cowboys in this spot, Monday Night Football instead of Sunday night. Give those teams an extra day to think about. I'd rather see Buffalo, Seattle than this. I'd rather see just about anything than this, man.
Yeah, but
lousy game.
But the problem isn't on the Steelers side; it's on the Giants side. I mean,
what would you rather see? Bengals, Eagles, or this?
There's 10 games I'd rather see. I mean, hell, I'd rather see Green Bay Jacksonville in this game. But
I've been going against the Jets and the Giants on all those games, so I'm going to stick with what I'm doing. I know that the world was like sucked in on the Jets, like, oh man, the Jets are going to be great. No, they're going to come back. It's all this spot, whatever. Oh, it's a square play to be on the Steelers. I don't give a shit. Freaking New York Giants, they're absolutely straight ass. This is how bad they are. They put Drew Lock in to play quarterback, thinking that they have a better chance to win with Drew Lock playing quarterback. That's bad, man. That means. Hope is a bad thing. It'll destroy your dreams. The Giants have no hope. They're done. And the Steelers,
Giants.
replay was invented in Pittsburgh. So we know that any bad call, it's going to go the Steelers' way.
Fair enough.
I mean, that was not a touchdown. What was his name? Flash or Slash? Right?
What else was invented in Pittsburgh?
That hamburger
Heinz
with French
ketchup?
fries on it.
Well, there's something pretty famous that was invented in Pittsburgh. The polio vaccine.
There you go. Jonas Salk.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. Well, fellas, that concludes this episode of Picks from the DawgHouse NFL edition. Well, of course, we'll be back next week, and of course, we'll have the plays we like the most over at Pick Dawgz Premium this coming up.
I think it's our last week without a bye until Thanksgiving week.
Yep.
It's this week, and then there's no buys this week, and then every other week has a bye until Thanksgiving.
So, Mitch, any final words from you, and what you selling this weekend over at Pick Dawgz?
Well, I'll have football up, college and NFL. I had a pretty decent NFL week this past week. It's been a grind, it always is. A lot of people, they can't wait for NFL season, but neither can the books for a good reason. So, I'm just gonna try and play it smart. I think you notice on the show, a lot of people say you guys get a lot of picks right on the show because we go against the grain. I think the NFL, you have to be able to go against the grain. You can't go by last week. You got to go by this week because these guys lost 3 in a row. These guys won 3 in a row. Perfect time for the guy that lost 3-0. row because everybody in the league can play except for the guys that are on the Giants and the Jets.
And the Panthers are the Saints.
No, I'd rather be a Panthers fan than Jets. At least you know who you are. You're not like trading for Devontae Adams and like, all of a sudden you got
That's a very
Adams,
Yeah. So it's almost like the Jets have delusions of grandeur, and the Carolina Panthers just know who they are.
Well, they've drafted Bryce Young, number 1 overall.
Yeah, so
they understand where they sit.
Back to the drawing board.
But this is actually a pretty decent quarterback class coming out this year. This should be actually one of the better ones in recent years. And,
They say that every year, but we'll see.
No, they don't say it every year. They didn't say it last year, but they'll say it this year, that this is one of the better classes. You got Cam Ward, you got Ewers, you got Shador, you got a lot of good quarterbacks coming out. Carson Beck. You got a lot of good quarterbacks coming out. The guy from Missouri is also good.
Cook.
There's some there's some good quarterbacks in this draft. And I think Cam Ward is as good as any of them. He's
fair enough.
The Heisman winner.
The Big Al McMorty. Any final words and what you got going on this weekend over at Pick Dawgz Premium?
Well, I'm going to have a lot of NBA this week. I've got probably going to end up having 7 or 8 NFL plays make the premium card. Maybe about 8 to 10 college football. Currently, I think 59 and 31 my last 90, and NFL and college football combined. So just try to keep it going this week over at Pick Dawgz.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And same thing for me. Ton of NBA for me this week, and really for the rest of the season. But of course, we're locked in on NFL Sunday. Still my favorite day of the week. So I'll have a handful of plays for y'all on Sunday. I'll have a good amount for you on Saturday for college football. But y'all know what it is for me, man. Hop on something long term. Let's continue to kick the crap out of the books. Fellas, appreciate both of y'all for joining me today. Of course, we'll be back next week as we just continue to try to cook up this NFL action. And we'll see y'all soon. It's been your guys. We're out of here. Peace.